do. And then not explaining to me what he's going to do. Also, another thing that bothered me is someone asked him blatantly, would he kneel or would he stand? You know what his answer was, people? If you listen to the interview, he said, we're past kneeling. We're past kneeling. We already know what the issue is. You're going around the fucking question. You know why you're not going to answer that question? Because you're now signed to the NFL. You obviously can't say, I'm going to kneel. He obviously can't say it. And if I see Jay-Z's ass at a fucking football game and he stands and puts his hand over his heart, when I'm telling you right now, people, I am one person. I am a fan of Jay-Z, not a huge fan. I'm not like a die-hard Jay-Z fan. He's not... His early stuff I really, really liked. I loved him when he was with Kanye, and I had to cut motherfucking Kanye off because his ass don't know what the fuck he doing either. But I definitely was a huge fan of his in the early Jay-Z years. And I definitely, like I said, I loved his collaboration with Kanye. It was really good. They're both great lyricists. I think he's a talented guy. I think he's talented. But I'm not a diehard fan, okay? I'm not like fall over, oh my God, Jay-Z. If I ever met him, I'd be like, ooh, it is Jay-Z. Like I said, I think he's talented. I know some of the things they talked about. I heard Ebro talking about, what Jay-Z has done in these last couple of years. And he has done. And I want people to understand that just because you've done some good doesn't mean that I can't criticize what you're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of even like what Charlamagne was talking about Nicki Minaj, who I am not a fan of. I do not like her. I do not think she's... Nope. There's probably maybe literally a handful of Nicki Minaj songs that I even like. I'm not a fan of hers, but that's a whole nother episode, right? But it was kind of like what Charlamagne was saying today, that somebody don't take criticism for hate, right? Because that we love to think people hate our favorite celebrities. Everybody thinks somebody a hater. It's not a hater. This is 2019. I can have an opinion. You can have an opinion. Like they say, everybody opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. I'm entitled to it. And if I do my research and I can debate with you and go back and forth with you and tell you why I feel how I feel, then it should just at least be respected, right? So it's not hate. It's the fact that Jay-Z has done a lot these last couple of years, and so has Beyonce. We all know Beyonce's his wife. If you know me, you know I'm a huge Beyonce fan. I love her. As I'm saying this, I am like in the beehive. I love me some Beyonce, right? I've been a fan from the beginning. But there was not a debate, but a friend of mine's on Facebook posted last week something about Beyonce fans not, let me see if I can quote it, because I don't want to not say what they said. They were talking something about how Beyonce fans are, and I commented on it because I thought it was interesting, and I wanted him to know that we all know how Beyonce was, and the things that have changed over the years. So, this is what my friend on Facebook wrote. 85% of Beyonce fans are a bit delusional about her early career skills. And that's actually not true. I don't think that that's true. I think that anybody who is a Beyonce fan, if you have been a fan since Destiny's Child, which I have been, I was a huge Destiny's Child fan, posters and everything all over my wall, and my favorite was always Kelly. I felt relatable to her. I didn't know her, obviously, don't know her from a hole in the wall, but when I was younger and they came out, that is who I liked the most. But I thought Beyonce just had more courage. She was definitely like why I can't think of this word. Whatever. I'm a very shy person. I'm not someone who wants to be in the front and get all the attention and needs all the crowds. And, I'm not one of those people. So I kind of got that vibe from Kelly. I felt, even though she was a celebrity and she's a star and she's a famous singer, I kind of got a vibe that she was a little bit more laid back. Who knows if that's true? That's just the vibe she gave off. And Beyonce, who could it be opposite? There are plenty of people who are shy. And yet when they get out there are plenty of celebrities that would tell you that, once they're out and doing the thing that they love, it completely completely changes them. So Beyonce just had more courage, and I like that about her, because that was something I didn't have. I felt like she was someone who just loved herself and knew who she was and kind of went out there, right? That's what I liked about Beyonce. But the early Beyonce was not as pro-black as she is now. If you're a real fan, you know that. You know that she was not, putting her power to the people and rocking the natural hair and doing protesting things and speaking up about things. There were plenty of things going on back when Destiny's Child and Beyonce became a solo artist that was going on that, I didn't hear her say mum's the word. And now anything that goes on, she and Jay-Z and a couple other celebrities are front runners, right? So if you're a real fan, which I am, you know this. And that's what I said to my friend on the comment. I said, if you're a real fan, you know this. You know that she definitely wasn't, pro herself or didn't put it out there. It doesn't mean she wasn't behind closed doors, but it wasn't something that she put on front page. You know what I'm saying? So Jay-Z has, because he comes from a different world than Beyonce, he comes from the hood. He did sell drugs some point in his life. He had to roll with some people that weren't the best people. Jay-Z came from a different world. So he has always spoken up in his rap lyrics about things that go on in the hood and what you have to do when you are from the hood, and and how the fact that the opportunities are just not there, right? They're just not there for you, and you have to do it. I get it. But these last couple of years, as a couple, one, they've joined together more, and they are definitely speaking out about things that need to be spoken out, and because they're such huge stars. I mean, Beyonce and Jay-Z's a huge star too, but I definitely think he's huger because of Beyonce, but we'll let that slide. But because they're both such huge stars, having them speak up about things that are so important to the Black community, I am so for it. I appreciate it. It's needed. And like I was saying before, you need people like Beyonce. You need people like Oprah. You need people like Colin. You need people like Barack. You need people like Charlemagne who can reach masses, who people listen to, who people will take steps back and say, let me think about this because so-and-so said it. Is it messed up that it has to come from people like this? And if I say it, you want to blow me off? Or if your neighbor says it, you want to blow them off? Yeah, it sucks. But the bottom line is that is the world of celebrity. It's been going on since whoever the first famous person was. I don't know who it was. Maybe a president. But the bottom line is that, when it was Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson or even Martin, when he beat Malcolm, when all these people became famous, it was easier for them to reach people when they were being heard, right? And before social media, you were on the news, you were on the radio, you were out there videotaping yourself. All of these things that people did so that masses could hear them, so that you can get your point across. So with that being said, I'm not knocking Jay-Z. I need people to understand that I'm not knocking Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not the spokesperson for Black people. For him to feel like kneeling is, we're past kneeling. What's the next step? The next step has nothing to do with the NFL. The NFL definitely needs to look at how they treated Colin Kaepernick and what they can do to make up for that. I understand they paid him, and I know some people were talking about, he took money, and that that he also got the money from the NFL and all that stuff. Yes, he did, but it was his job. That's like saying somebody who was sexually harassed, they file a complaint against their job for the sexual harassment, for not assessing and not addressing the sexual harassment, and I sue you and you pay me. And now you talk about, well, if it was such a big deal, why you took the money? No, it's my motherfucking job. I still have to pay my bills. I mean, Colin Kaepernick might be rich, but he lives somewhere, right? He got a house, right? He has a car, right? He got a light bill, right? I don't know if he got kids. I'm not too sure. But the bottom line is he has bills. He got bills like everybody else, and they have to get paid. And just because you did something to me doesn't mean you still shouldn't pay me. That just don't make no sense to me. Because I see people who are defending Jay-Z is saying, he took that money. Of course he took the money. That was his job. So you should pay me. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the bottom line is that I'm not knocking Jay-Z. I think him partnering with the NFL is a good thing, because he is someone who speaks up for Black people and speaks up for the injustice that goes on with black people and in the communities, and the stuff that goes on with the police and the kids having to go to the gang and drug route because their parents are working 2 jobs, or they come from a single parent household. Even if they have a 2-parent household, the parents can't afford certain things. All of that, I'm for all of it. Thank you, appreciate it. Kudos to Jay-Z. We're gonna give him a clap for that. I appreciate all of that. I definitely, I think his heart is in the right place. I think he is definitely gearing and trying to shine light on things like that, and him being a part of that as a black man, being on this board. I guess maybe he's on the board and being at games and seeing how things are done. All of this is good. There's nothing wrong with what Jay-Z is doing. And for those of us who are speaking up about it, we don't think there's anything wrong with Jay-Z's doing either. The issue that people who are pro Kaepernick or on his side or feeling that there is an issue is the fact that that he didn't bring Colin Kaepernick in on this. I mean, he claims he had a discussion with Colin, but Colin's girlfriend, Nessie, I think that's her name, or Nessa. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it right. I don't follow, everything that goes on with Colin Kaepernick. I know his girlfriend is on a radio show, and so I think her name is Nessie. She did state that Colin and Jay-Z did not have a discussion about Jay-Z signing with the NFL or partnering with the NFL with this deal, and also the fact that I agree that he should have brought him in. I think he should have been in that conference. That would have showed a united front. And see, that's something else that Ebro was saying, that you can have 2 different types of protests, or you can have 2 different types of things to have the same ending, right? To have the same outcome that you both want. But once again, a lot of us don't know what Jay-Z's outcome is. We don't know where he's going with this, what's supposed to happen with it. That wasn't really discussed. It wasn't really clear for me personally. I was very still on limbo about, other than the fact that the partnering has to do with the social justice pondering and anything that has to do with football. Other than that, I really wasn't sure what this partnership does for what Colin was standing for, or kneeling for, if you want to put it that way. So yeah, that was the one thing. And the fact that they weren't in this together. That's like when Martin and Malcolm decided, because we all know the story with Malcolm and Martin. They were on they wanted the same things. They just went about it 2 different ways, right? The, by any means necessary way. And then, let's talk. Let's, sit with the white man, right? That's kind of, let's just be honest, that's kind of the roads it was going. But then, before, God rest their souls, that they were taken from us, they had decided that they needed to be together, right? Because the by any means necessary and the soft approach was not working for either one. I mean, it was working as far as, yes, I don't want nobody to say it was working. There were a lot of changes and a lot of things done thanks to Malcolm and Martin. Without them, we wouldn't even be able to be discussing, not just them, but I'm just saying they did so much. But they did come to realize that they needed to be together, work together, be on the same page, be on the same road, same line, all of that, right? Because it did seem for a long time that they did not agree. And I appreciated Ebro, or no, was it Ebro? I feel like maybe it was Ebro who I thought was saying that was kind of like what people were looking at, that they could pick it apart. Yes, he did say that it looks like Jay-Z and Colin are not together on this, that they're not on the same page. Doesn't mean that they have to do the same thing. It just means that they weren't together on this idea, or they weren't in cahoots, or they weren't talking about it, right? So that is the issue. The fact that it seems like Jay-Z and Colin are not together on what he's going to be doing, which once again, we're still trying to figure that out, what he's going to be doing with this partnership. So that is my issue with Jay-Z, because that is someone I would have talked to. To me, it's exactly like Malcolm and Martin not eventually talking to each other. I mean, well, they always talk to each other. They, but not talking to each